What about healthcare? That's a tough one. Obviously, most people get it through their jobs. There was a report today in the Wall Street Journal saying that on average, an employer pays $20,000 a year for that, and that doesn't include the deductibles and the copays. From what I understand of your story, you're also kind of looking outside the box for how you handle that. So how do you do it for you and your family?
Yeah, this is a great question, just because it's one that affects us very, very dramatically as we are now essentially entrepreneurs, right? So I can tell you that there are several strategies that are in place. And also, let me preface this by saying that this is a disaster. This is truly a disaster. There is no good answer here. I would love to tell you that it's just going to work, but we all, like, if college was a problem, this is a freaking iceberg. But having said that, you work with what you can do. So there's a couple options that are out there. One of them is the ACA is still intact. If you are a low income individual, even without an employer, you will likely be eligible for ACA subsidies. I know an individual that he has a small startup that he created post-work. He makes roughly $40,000, $60,000 a year, somewhere in that range. For his family of 5, the subsidies are in place. It's $300, $400, $500 a month. You can kind of control your tax rate to some degree if you're in one of these individuals, because you can then load up your 401k, still taking care of your retirement, which then drops your AGI, which then will probably also likely increase your subsidy amount. So that's one possibility. Let's say that you're in the situation where your business has done very, very well and you have a lot of income. In that situation, then you're going to just take it in the face. Or let's say that you are retired with $3 million, $4 million, $5 million in assets, something absurd. You have a wonderful problem, right? If that is your situation, you're going to take it in the face. And like you said, $20,000 to $30,000 a year, and it's just a line item that you're going to have to budget for. If you're willing to get outside of that normal paradigm, you can look at something like health shares, health share ministries. There are some disadvantages of health share ministry. One, it's not technically insurance. One, not everybody is eligible for it. Two, there's something called balance billing that I'll let Brad talk about briefly. But let me just go away from the cons and talk about the pros. In many cases, you have up to $1 million in damages that are covered for roughly $450 a month for a family. And, I think you also got to think about healthcare as there being 3 different types. There is preventative, there's maintenance, and there's acute. Preventative, who is going to be the healthiest person? The person that has low level stress constantly and because of that overeats, underexercises, or an individual that has reclaimed bandwidth in their life and is actively taking care of themselves, both from a mental state, a physical state, and otherwise. As a whole, if you look at the FI community, and I have no data to back this up, but I would suspect, I would put my money on the fact that as a whole, the FI community is healthier than a cohort which does not have the bandwidth to take care of themselves. So that's one additional thing to keep in mind.
As Jonathan said, there's really, truly no good answer here. But one thing he kind of slipped in there is, if you're on the ACA or even if you're using a health share ministry, this is a line item in your budget, and you just have to deal with it and plan accordingly. So I think that's kind of the background. Is I wish there was some great answer. I wish we had some amazing hack for this. We simply don't. But I guess what my family has done is used Liberty Health Share for the last almost 4 years. And it's worked exceptionally well. I mean, as Jonathan said, it is not insurance. So there are definitely downsides to it. The biggest is that the hospitals and doctors do not have a contract with this health sharing ministry. So they're not legally obligated to take what in essence is like that negotiated rate, right? We all see that when there's the rack rate, there's the negotiated rate, and that's what the insurance company generally pays. So I've had an instance where I've been actually balance billed by the hospital for, let's say, a procedure costs $10,000. The normal standard repayment is $3,000. They bill me for the other $7,000. But incredibly, Liberty Health Share, and this is anecdotal, of course, but they hired a team of lawyers. They negotiated it, and they paid the remaining amount. So I was not out an additional dollar. So again, in my very anecdotal experience, it's been truly wonderful.